Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just a short little explainer video on pace notes here. We're in Richard Burns Rally because it's a little bit kinder to my laptop this morning. Tried streaming on Dirt Rally, but it was just a little bit well, it just really wasn't wanting to play very well today. So we're just going to go to a quick rally. We're going to use the rally school stage here, nice short stage. We'll have a go in the Toyota Corolla WRC car. Yes, Toyota did have a WRC team in the 90s, for those of you who didn't know, and they were very successful indeed. We'll go for the semi-automatic, let the gearbox do the thinking for me, and we're going to go and drive the stage. But here's the thing, we're going to drive it as if we were in a recce. So it's
3, 2, 1, go!
And the next digitized notes you're going to hear, we're going to pretend that that's the driver calling out the pace notes. We'll play the part of the
fast left,
he's called the fast left.
fast right, 100.
So now what he's done there is he's called some pace notes to the co-driver. This is the opposite of what happens in a normal rally. During recce, the driver will dictate what notes he wants to hear for each corner, and the co-driver will dutifully jot them down. Perhaps if the co-driver knows the driver very well, he'll probably perhaps ask for additions or maybe do some suggestions, but we try and keep the suggestions and all the other back and forth down to a minimum. The main thing here is to write down the pace notes and make sure that we accurately capture what the driver wants to be said, the actual notes that the driver wants during the recce. So there's a 60km limit during the recce. It's all done very, very slowly. There's going to be a lot of stopping and starting.
Forward, into, easy left, fast right, tightens, 70.
So now he's just called forward into, easy left, and fast right. So basically we're using the descriptive system here, just a little bit easier for you to understand, because a lot of people use different number systems and different combinations, and some go 1 to 6, some go 6 to 1. So we're just using the descriptive system for this little demonstrator. It's not too important what system you use, as long as you are very consistent. Every easy right or every right 4 has to be the same as every other easy right or right 4 or whatever, you know. There's some drivers out there who use all sorts of weird terminology, but we like to say in rallying, doesn't matter if you use giraffes and elephants, as long as every giraffe right is the same and every elephant left is the same. But perhaps for the ease of this video, we'll just use the basic system there. So what you heard was forward into easy left and fast right. Fast being it's not flat, you have to brake and turn in. Easy means it's a very easy corner to take, but you can't quite take it flat out. So an easy is a lot faster than a fast corner. And then you have medium, and you have all the other descriptors, which sort of make sense once you go through the stages a couple of times. And so the way he described it there was forward into easy right, and that means you go across a ford. A ford is a water crossing. Sometimes you can describe them as water splashes or just water. And when the driver says into, it means that the obstacle is just before the corner. He has to know them both. So he has to know the direction and the speed of the corner right after that ford, because he's going to go cross that ford and immediately have to react to the next thing. So the timing of the notes will be very important here. And now a lot of co-drivers would dictate the timing with little lines underneath the notes or with little diacritics and other stuff. So we're going to carry on through the stage here. Again, following the
easy right,
posted
long,
speed limit, 60 kilometers an hour maximum.
Easy left,
As the
100.
co-driver will be writing all this down.
Fast left, long, 70.
It's very, very tempting to go quickly through the stages, but it does really pay, especially on your first run through Recce, because you get 2 chances at
Easy
Recce.
right, long, 70.
And it really does pay to try and memorize the notes.
Medium left, 200.
Well, sorry, write down the notes properly, prepare the notes, and it really does pay to take your time, although you can't take too much time, as you do generally have only a couple of hours to get through a loop of stages. So 60 kilometers an hour here is perfectly fine.
90 right, 100. Fast right, long.
Now, normally the drivers will be dictating the notes as they go into the
Easy
corner.
left, fast right. Forward, forward, into, fast left. Fast right, long. Easy left, tightens, 70.
Generally, we're using a rally car right now to recce the stages, but generally you're just using a road car. You're not allowed to have anything too specialized. No full-blown competition cars are allowed to be used during recce, so you have to just take your time and drive very, very carefully through it. You're not allowed to take the car you're going to compete in and recce. It literally is just take your road car, go out there and survey the course and make sure your pace notes are absolutely correct. Like I say, we're using a very simple descriptive system here, but if you have a more complicated one, you'd perhaps even be stopping like I am now and just double checking the notes previously, or maybe having a think about the road ahead and how best to describe it, especially if it's very, very complicated. Obviously it's not that complicated up ahead there, but recce is a very slow art.
Fast left, 30.
You'd be tempted to go quickly through
Forward.
your second run through the special stage, but
Medium right, into.
you definitely don't want to go too quickly, because again there are penalties for going too fast during a recce. And
Finish.
as we hang around there for a second. So in any case, that's what would generally happen in recce. The little robotic digitized voice you heard there, well, is taking the place of our co-driver for this afternoon. He'll be reading through the notes and making sure everything is A-OK. In the meanwhile, the co-driver writes them down. They're only going very, very slowly through there, generally only with very, very basic road cars. Perhaps at most they'll probably have a roll bar for safety, some seats and belts, and maybe a sump guard, and obviously the road cars will be fitted with rally tyres, simply because there's enough grip there so that the cars won't get stuck easily in the stage. We are, after all, driving off-road, so there is a possibility of that. So, just general things like that, general preparation that you can do on your average daily driver. There are many ways to grade the corners. Some people use bits of tape on the steering wheel. Some of the guys who are used to speed-based systems would probably just try and use their experience and judgment when going through the corner. We are using a descriptive system, so it's fairly easy, and on this stage especially, it's fairly easy to just go by eye and judge the corner that way. So now we're going to go and restart this special stage, and we'll have our second pass through recce.
3, 2, 1, go!
And now I'm going to keep quiet and concentrate as the co-driver, listening to the drivers. As I'm now be playing the part of the driver in this little role play, so the digitized voice will be reading back the pace notes that I've quote-unquote written. So just pretend that I've swapped seats there and have become the driver for this mythical rally. So on the second pass, it's all about validation. So this is the first time the co-driver is going to be reading the pace notes. In fact, it's the only time he's going to practice them before he goes out onto the special stage. The driver is going to be listening to the notes and making sure they are right. Again, it's all done fairly slowly.
Fast left. Fast right, 100.
Perhaps a little bit quicker than previously.
Forward, into, easy left.
Here,
fast right, tightens, 70.
Here I make a suggestion, like perhaps we should change that to forward immediate.
Easy right, long, 30.
We won't be making too many suggestions or
Easy
changes
left,
like that.
100.
If you're new, you will be definitely making more adjustment to your notes the second time through the stage. So
fast left, long, 70.
the pro tip is to write the pace notes down in pencil, then you can modify them quite easily.
Easy right, long, 70.
And even during the rally, the driver may occasionally say,
medium left, 200.
okay, that's unnecessary detail, you can rub that out, or maybe we need to change the grading of this corner, it was a little bit scary the first time through. So even during the rally, the driver might ask for little pace note changes. But that's very few and
90
far
right, 100.
Like here I might say perhaps a don't cut through there because there's some rocks on the inside. Although personally I think it's okay, don't
fast
tend to
right,
cut unless I have to. Sometimes during the validation runs the driver might
easy
drive
left,
off the road
fast
there,
right,
just to see if he can cut. That's how the co-driver knows to cut or not cut, and that's because the
forward,
driver has
into,
tried it
fast left,
at a slow speed.
fast
So
right,
here you can
long,
probably have a big cut through there.
easy left, tightens, 70.
Incidentally, we won't be taking any cuts through the stage, but generally it's through the second half, the second part of recce, that the driver will make the decisions on
Fast right,
whether to cut,
fast left, 30.
and any
Forward,
performance enhancing notes,
medium right,
any
into,
modifications. That would generally be done before the second pass of recce.
finish.
So now we've crossed the finish line for the second half of recce. As you see, it took a much shorter time. From just now, it was a 5-minute run through the stage. We were going much lower than the speed limit there. We were pretty much on the speed limit pretty much all the time, and stopping very few times. Now there is a little bit of etiquette as to whether you see someone behind you or ahead of you doing a recce. Someone behind you seems a little bit impatient. It is normally a good idea just to let them pass through the second part of recce, because sometimes they might deliberately stop and go through a corner, not flat out, but in a slightly more spirited manner, just to test the grip. And so there is a little bit of just common sense. If you see someone coming behind you that's a little bit quicker, it's much better to let them pass. So you're not competing, you're just trying to make sure the notes are right. And so yeah, so now we've had a look at that stage twice. Now imagine we're going to go off, we're going to go to sleep, we'll perhaps wake up in the morning after, have breakfast, do all the other bits and pieces. Perhaps the recce is even earlier in the week, as it is on some WRC events, so you have 2-3 days to mull over the notes. Some drivers like to put a GoPro in the car so that they can review the notes when they get back into the hotel room. They can hook it up to the monitor or the television in their room, and the driver and co-driver will sit down and discuss the day's stages. That's really not necessary unless you are competing at a WRC level, so for those of you just starting out, just make sure the notes are nice and simple, only include the details you need, and make sure you include all the details you need. So anyways, you have to imagine that it'll be 24, sometimes 48 hours after these notes were made. You've just about all but forgotten them, and suddenly you're now placed back into the stage, and this time it's for real. The driver will be hanging on to the co-driver's every single word. And we're going for a time here, so we've got
2, 1.
Go!
Fast left, fast right, 100.
So I know it's a fast, not a flat, so you have to brake a little bit
Into,
there.
easy left,
I'll brake before
fast
the
right,
forward.
tightens, 70. Easy right, long, 30. Easy left, 100. Fast
Easy
left, long,
Can
70.
sometimes be taken flat, but sometimes you have to slow down a little bit. Big
Easy
sideways
right,
movement through there.
long, 70. Medium left, 200. Right, 100.
I know it's a sharp corner, so I'm braking a lot here. Quick handbrake turn. Power slide out of there.
Fast right, long. Easy left, fast right, forward, forward, into, fast left, fast right, long. Easy left, tightens, 70. Fast right, fast left, 30. Forward.
Co-driver has to get the
Medium
pacing right so
into.
he can drive at this pace through the stage. Big handbrake turn around the final
Finish.
corner, and we are done. Park the car up there at the side of the road, and that is our final run through there. Drive up to the marshal's post there. And so there you go. So we went from going through the stage at very, very slow speeds at around 5 minutes 30 seconds to the validation run being, again, very, very slow, but still 2:45, almost 3 minutes. But because we did our job correctly through the special stage there, and despite a couple of times of me not quite getting the notes right, we ended up with a time of 1:31 flat. So that goes to show the value of very, very good pace notes. And in fact, you can still improve on the pace note system. It's not a thing that's rigid and set in stone. You need to be in discussion with your co-driver throughout the season as to what can be improved. You always want to try and improve those pace notes. Try different things during testing and during practice. I know of quite a few teams who even drive around their local housing area or up their favorite road and make pace notes just as a practice. So every little bit helps, but there you have it. The Slow Art of Recce that makes the fast art of rallying possible. I've been Matthew Palmer, and we'll see you later on. Ta-ra!